topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Philadelphia. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where for the last 16 years, we have brought you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. We have got a great show for you for the next 25 minutes. You know, if you've got an interest in longevity, holistic medicine, we have got the greatest show, especially if you're interested in hormone replacement, shockwave therapy. We have got the greatest expert. It's called Philadelphia Wellness Center. And we've got our longtime expert, Katie Harris. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning.
I got to tell you, you've built up such an incredible practice. By the numbers we're getting for your show, I would say we are getting new people every month. Tell people about your wellness center.
Yeah, so I started at Philly Wellness Center basically for myself because, I'm going into menopause with the weight gain and the brain fog and walking into a room and not having any idea why I just walked there. Kind of not remembering things, all that kind of stuff. And it was just kind of like, is this really it? Like, it's just downhill from here. And so it was really about searching for those types of answers. And, I didn't like kind of the standard, I guess, of care, which, basically is an antidepressant and, deal with it basically. And, knowing that there had to be something else that I could do. And so really kind of researched what is out there, and there's a whole world out there beyond standard of care that we don't hear about, and that those are the things that I found. So I started with hormone therapy for myself, and that was truly a game changer, absolutely amazing. And I can't overstate how life-changing it was just to do that. Lost the weight with some peptides and, just got into some regenerative aesthetics as well, pain management. So those are the types of things that we do because those are the things that, I needed and what my patients were asking me for.
So you were actually your first patient.
Yes, I am the first patient and I'm always the guinea pig. So,
Well, Katie, I was looking at your website. There are so many different areas that you treat, but most of all, there's so many different areas that people didn't even know existed. And I'd like to talk to you about some of those areas like IV therapy. What is that?
Yeah, so IV therapy it's about getting different nutrients and minerals in the body through the bloodstream. Because a lot of us have gut issues, right? And so you might take supplements and they all get destroyed in the gut, or you have problems absorbing those types of nutrients, or even, the food chain is not, depending on where you get your stuff is questionable at best. So IV therapy injects those directly into the bloodstream. But it's more than that too, because there's lots of different IV therapies. There's, there's your stereotypical hangover cure, right? Which it's funny because I remember doing that years ago. If people in the hospital, they went out and had too much to drink. We would give each other IV fluids, right? And you always
Yes.
pop back. There was nothing like a bag of saline, and nothing in it, just saline, just regular, hydration feels amazing. And when you add the vitamins and minerals, you feel so much better. But I do more advanced type of therapies as well. So for pain and for autonomic system reset, I do procaine infusions, which are amazing. The procaine can really help reset. It's kind of like CPR for the cells, and it resets the cells, and it does wonders for pain. Or methylene blue infusions for energy. I do phosphatidylcholine infusions for cell membrane, and all of the stuff that I do, even though it seems like a lot, it all comes back to regenerating cell membranes and making sure those are intact, because that's kind of the root cause of many of the underlying issues that most people have.
Katie, what is your patient? What's the workup? I mean, because a lot of times you're discovering things that their own doctor missed. Is it a one time or is it several times when someone comes in saying, Doctor, I know there's something wrong? Other doctors have said, I'm perfectly fine. You actually find what is the problem?
Yeah, and I really take things from the perspective of there's the body's health. There's the body has one health, right? Like that, everybody's cells work the same way. It doesn't matter if you're fat or thin or skinny or tall or white or black. It doesn't matter. Like the cells all work the same way. And when they deviate from that health, then that's when you have diseases and conditions, right? So there's a million different ways that things can go wrong in the body. As you can imagine, it's a very complex system, but there's one way that it's supposed to work. And by nature, we always think of, that we have like tubes and it's mechanical, but the body is actually biochemical, right? Everything about us is biochemical, and your cells are always regenerating to, maintain status quo. And when they run out of the resources to do that, then they start doing workarounds, or they start stealing from each other, right? Like they're almost like humans, right? Just, they'll start looting other cells if they need something, and, the other cells have it, and they're not priority cells. So that's what happens when you don't have enough nutrients or minerals or the resources that the cells need. They start taking it from other places until you basically have nothing left for Peter to rob from Paul. But from a standpoint of the human body is actually it's a biochemical makeup, and so the philosophy is we want to replace that. So how do I work somebody up? We'll do labs, and I'll do more extensive labs than your primary or a conventional doctor or provider would do. And it's really looking at, well, what are we missing? What is the body lacking that it's trying to get from somewhere else, or trying to do a workaround? Because ultimately, end of the day, I'm less interested in what your disease is or your condition. I'm more interested in what's deficient and how can we replace that to get the body back to that one health state, and then things will resolve on their own.
Katie, we have a longtime functional medicine doctor that does our show in Georgia. And the number one thing he talks about is stress. That has got to affect people's lives in a big way. How do you deal with people that have major stress problems?
Yeah, I mean, stress it's a huge issue, and we always think of stress like, and I'll have people say, "Oh, I don't have any stress," and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
or I have lots of stress, and I'm like, okay, fine. You might mentally not be stressed, you might be in a good place, but if your cells are stressed out because they don't have what they need, then you still have stress in the body, right? And that stress manifests itself, like I just said, in different ways, in workarounds and deficiencies and that. So it's not about necessarily your mental state. Your mental state absolutely has a huge impact, right? Like when you, even conventional medicine will say, we can't have too much stress, because if you just had a heart attack or something, we don't want a lot of stress. But it's more than just mental stress, right? It's more than, my job is stressful or my relationship is stressful. If your cells are stressed because they are deficient in the resources that they need, that is going to have a massive impact on your health.
And people also can get weight gain from stress, right?
Yeah, because what happens is when you have everybody has some fat tissue. You don't want to be without fat, like that would be problematic. But excessive fat starts to release just inflammation, and that inflammation, one, stresses the cells, right? Because now they have to deal with that inflammatory process that's going on. So fat it's very low on the totem pole of the hierarchy of things that need to get done in the body, right? Like the first thing, your heart has to beat, and it's not like your heart can take some time off and take a rest. It has to beat every second your whole life. So that has a huge energy demand. The brain has a huge energy demand. It's like the mafia comes in and takes a third of all the energy that you consume. It takes it right off the bat. And you have what I call an energy budget. So that's based on your inputs. So how much you put into the body is how much the body has to use. And the quality of that input is really important too. So if you're eating like a bag of Doritos and that's your food for the day, well, that energy that you get from the Doritos, you'll get some energy, but most of it has to be directed to breaking down all the chemicals that are in a Dorito, and that Dorito is causing inflammation. So now the body's got to deal with that. So, fighting fat and dropping fat is not a priority for the body. And in fact, it's important. I mean, the whole reason you eat is to store fat, so that you have it, kind of like a savings account. So if there's a famine, right, you have fat to draw on. So, we kind of over exaggerate the fat problem. I know people, you don't want to be excessively fat, but you don't want to be excessively skinny either. You need to be something in the middle. You have to have some fat stores, but it's, the body just doesn't want to break down fat. It's not a priority at all. And if you're not meeting your basic energy needs with the inputs that you're giving the body, then that's a very, very low priority.
Got a letter from Judy in San Antonio. She said, I never miss one of your shows. I am actually relocating to the Philadelphia area. I'm really excited about it. I will be making an appointment with you. I'm 65 years old. Tell me, what are some important supplements I should be taking?
Yeah, there's some core supplements that we recommend, because a lot of the supplements don't do all that much, because you want to take supplements that the body can use right away. And so supplements like that are going to be acetyl L-carnitine. So acetyl L-carnitine helps fatty acids into the cell membrane, and the body can use it. It needs it all day long. It's pretty boring, but B vitamins, super essential, and not just a multivitamin, because the doses in that are really, really minuscule. There's not promoting now foods, but they have B100, and that B100 has 100 milligrams of B1, B2, B3, and that's what you want. So, you can get any brand, but just make sure that the Bs are in the hundreds, and not like 2 milligrams or 5 milligrams, which is probably what's in your multivitamin, because that's like spitting in the ocean.
Is that good for men too?
Absolutely. Men and women, everybody needs, your cells need B vitamins. They use them in almost every process, and you have 40 trillion cells to feed. So you need a sizable amount of B vitamins. Alpha lipoic acid really helps. That's another one. And then a big one would be N-acetylcysteine. N-acetylcysteine helps glutathione, and glutathione is what cleans up all of the oxidative stress, the stress in the body. That's glutathione cleans that up. So we use N-acetylcysteine because it's the precursor. And if the body doesn't need to make glutathione, there's 1,000 other things that it can use N-acetylcysteine for. But we generally take large doses, like 3 to 4 grams of N-acetylcysteine.
So you also work in peptides. And when I think peptides, I think of the skinny injection. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
So, I've shared with you before that I'm on Ozempic, and I love it. I got to tell you, they talk about side effects. I've had, when I say a little, I mean a little nausea. But what's so strange about it is it lasts for about 2 or 3 minutes and goes away.
Hmm.
And I've had great results with it. What is, and I want to also add that besides weight loss, my blood work has never looked so good since I went on it. Are you seeing the same results?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen fatty liver reversed with just being on GLPs. The GLPs are a hormone and they're peptides. So, hormone just means that it originates in one place and then it's used in another place, right? And that's what GLPs, they're made in the gut, they're made also in the brain, and then they move around to other cells and give instructions. So, the GLPs, which is the core ingredient in Ozempic or semaglutide, are very powerful in that way. And they send anti-inflammatory messages, so that it reduces inflammation in the body. It sends a message to the brain, and it tells the brain that you're full, right? And so you might get a wave of nausea when you think about food, or you look at food, or somebody's like, let's go eat. And you're like, oh, and you might get that just kind of like food aversion, because the semaglutide is the GLP is telling the brain that you're full, right? And you do have to be careful with it because you do need to eat. It's very, very important
Right.
to eat, because that goes back to the energy budget. And if you don't put any inputs in the body, then you have nothing to run on. And so the body can leverage a lot of really good calories. So you can eat a decent amount of food during we recommend intermittent fasting. So if you're going to eat like in a time window of between 11 and 8 or 10 and 7 or whatever that period is, eat a lot of protein, saturated fats, and some good carbs. Get those in there. Get a good energy budget going for the rest of that time. But the semaglutide will do its thing, decreasing inflammation, decreasing that satiety. And the side effects, some people have more side effects than others for sure, but a wave of nausea is pretty minor.
So, do you have a favorite brand name
A favorite brand for GLP?
for the yes?
So we use semaglutide. So we get those at a compounding pharmacy, so they don't have
Oh, okay.
brand names. Yeah, but your Ozempic and Wegovy are the two brand names, and they're just, they're outrageously expensive if you have to pay out of pocket. If insurance pays for it, then it's great.
Yes. So, is it something that you have to do for the rest of your life? Is there a maintenance program?
Yeah, no, when you get to your ideal weight, basically that I always see semaglutide as a way to make the lifestyle changes that you wanted to make, but maybe couldn't before. Diet, what you eat and what you put in your mouth is going to be extremely important. So again, protein, saturated fat, really, really important. Exercise, the body needs to move every day. And you don't have to run a marathon, and actually your elite athletes are not healthy people. They're very unhealthy. So you don't need to do extreme exercise, but walking a good 40 minutes a day, strength training, really, really important for older people. So those two things would be really important. The intermittent fasting is actually way more important than people understand, because the body is either in a fed state or a fasting state. And if it's in a fasting state, then it's healing. Kind of like when you sleep, you have recovery, right? When the body's fasting, it's recovering. When it's eating, all it's doing is storing and building. So storing and building, and fasting is resting and repairing. So those three things are really, really important. And then I would do the supplements, because the supplements are giving the body what it needs. And if it gets what it needs on a routine basis, then you're going to have a natural calming effect, right? When the cells are stressed out because they don't have what they need, it puts you in a stressed out situation as well. And when the body is stressed out, again, fat is not a priority for the body to eliminate. So, doing those types of things, you should be able to come off the semaglutide. If you're not doing those things, and I have people that are just like, I'd just rather take the semaglutide and not make those changes. I don't recommend that because, you certainly want to give the body what it needs. But absolutely, the goal should be to come off of those medications when you're ready.
I'm looking at a text we just got, and I'm thinking about people who will write us and say, I can't give myself the injection. I don't think they understand. First of all, it's a very small needle. You don't even feel it. But we just got a text. Where is the best place on the body to inject the skinny injection?
Yeah, I mean, just the abdomen in general is really the best place. But I do a lot of peptides, so my belly gets tired of that sometimes. So I will do anywhere that you have like a little pocket of fat is fine. So sometimes I'll do kind of the upper butt area, or you can do the arms. It would be hard to get to that, but inner thighs, though that skin is, you have to think about the nerve endings. You don't have that many nerve endings in the abdomen or in the butt because it's just not necessary. So it would be way less painful to do this shot there.
Katie, your show goes by so fast. I'm just looking at the clock. We got a minute left. Tell people how they can reach you.
Yeah, so I'm at Philly Wellness Center, and you can go to our website, which is phillywellnesscenter.com, or email us at info@phillywellnesscenter.com. Or you can call us, text us, 215-709-9710.
Katie, thank you so much. You're just a world of information, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Katie. That's Katie Harris, Philly Wellness Center. Especially if you're trying to lose weight, great place to go. Hey, that's going to do it for us today. We'll have more next week. Hey, we'll be in May next week. Crazy. The year is going by so fast. Hey, everybody have a wonderful week. Have a great weekend. Stay blessed. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.